All right, everybody, this is S. Anthony Thomas. I am back, and I am glad to be back. I'm glad to have you back. And I was away working on Project X. You'll find out about that later on. But while I was doing that, I had some things happen to me that literally only happen to people in really bad 70s and 80s sitcoms. I'm going to tell you all about it. I didn't believe it when it was happening to me, and you're not going to believe it when I tell you, but I'm telling you the truth, and I think you'll enjoy it. I'm going to talk about that, among other things, and I hope you enjoy it. Now, the question I want to ask you is, are you ready? Of course you are. Let's do it. All right, everybody, how are you doing? How are you doing? This is S. Anthony Thomas. This is the S. Anthony Thomas Show. Glad to be back as promised. Thank you for coming back, my friends. You know what? Let's just get right into what I wanted to talk to you cats about. During the time that I was off and I was working on Project X, and I took some time off of the podcast to work on a couple of things. You know what? I literally lived in a sitcom for some of that time. I lived in a sitcom. Now, what do I mean by that? You have situations that happen to you in your life where the things that happen are so absurd and stupid and corny around the edges. It looks like it was a bad script in a bad sitcom. And if you try to tell somebody about it, they think you're telling them a joke or you're trying to set up some jokes, especially me with my profession. And I'm going, no, this actually happened. Well, this actually happened to me and I'm going to tell you about it. But first, I want to lay the groundwork when I say, when I just talked about bad sitcoms. Now, if you, like me, watched a lot of television when you were a kid, when you would see 80s sitcoms and maybe some 70s sitcoms in syndication, and they always had the same stupid script. Super good looking girl at the bar, and they would say girl back then, not lady. Keep in mind, this is the 70s. And she would be at the bar, and some guy would walk up to her with, he'd have his shirt open, got the hair and the chest and the disco medallion around his neck. Hey, baby, you've been running through my mind all night. And she's looking at the guy like, get out of here. She's not threatened by the guy. He's not being ridiculously bad. Worse than he would be able to get away with now, but back then, not a big deal, right? And he's hitting on her and he's being persistent, and she's not threatened by this guy. She's looking at him like, get out of here. I'm not interested. Get out, punk. She hits him with some zingers. The audience laughs. Ah, ha, 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 ha. He goes, oh, so you're going to play hard to get, huh? Right. Meanwhile, we cut to the men's room, right? And her boyfriend is walking out of the men's room. He's still got his kung fu outfit on or his karate gi on, right? He runs into a friend of his as he's leaving the bathroom stall. Hey, Chuck. Oh man, he came right to the bar right from your teaching your karate class. Yeah, I was teaching my karate class today. Oh man, I'm telling you right now, man, the simple fact, I can see why you undefeated in full contact karate. I tell you that. Well, it's a lot of hard work. I'm not the toughest guy in the world. You're not the toughest guy in the world. Yeah, right. Tell that to those 53 people you beat down when those tournaments now. You can't even find a fight now because you're so tough and you beat people up so much that they don't even want to fight you. These are other black belts that are afraid of you, and rightfully so. So how are you doing in that anger management class? Well, we've been working pretty good in the anger management class, but they kicked me out. They kicked you out? Why'd they kick you out? I slapped the teacher. Audience laughs. Of course, it's canned laughter. Right? So he shakes the guy's hand, right? I'll talk to you later, buddy. Not a problem. Then Karate Man turns and you see the point of view shot over his shoulder where he sees the body language of his girlfriend rejecting the guy and the guy being a little persistent, chasing his lady friend. And then the camera goes back to the dude and he's got a look on his face. He's like, he's just gonna get you, right? And just as he gets that look on his face where he's just about to explode, the guy who just walked away from him, was talking about the anger management class, walks back around to greet him again, sees the look on his face and goes, whoa, I'll talk to you later, and runs away, because we want to make sure the audience knows how tough this guy and how violent this guy is before we go to the commercial break. And then the music goes, dun, 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 and the camera cuts back to the guy talking to the girlfriend, and then the camera cuts back to the boyfriend fuming, and he's pulling his hair, and he's gonna kick, and then there's 2 minutes of commercials about crap you don't need, and then the show comes back. He walks across the thing, he walks up to the guy looks back at him and goes, oh God, because the guy who's in the karate outfit is like 6'50", Not a time. I mean, he's literally 6'50". He's a big dude. And then that guy just looks at him like, what are you doing, my girlfriend? Well, and then the karate guy, of course, it's a sitcom. So he looks around and he pulls his hand back and chops the person's table in half that's behind him having dinner. Then he chops a bar stool in half. The bartender goes, here, have a beer, calm down. And he chops the top of the beer bottle off with his hand and gets beer all over everybody. And that girlfriend jumps up and puts her hand on his chest and goes, no, don't do it, right? And then the karate guy walks up to the guy that was hitting on the girl and gets right up close to him. I'm gonna kill you. And then, of course, it's a 70s sitcom or an early 80s sitcom. And what does the guy do? He puts on a stereotypical gay voice, right? But complete with over the top, even insulting and out of bounds, even for back then physical emotion. I'm not even going to do the voice. You know what I'm talking about, right? And the guy goes, oh, okay, if you're one of those guys, it's all right if you talk to my girl. But if you were a guy like me, a man like me, boy, if I didn't realize you were one of those guys, I'd have killed you. And then he does the stereotypical voice and runs out of the building. Sitcom, right? Now that's an idiotic thing, and that really doesn't happen to anybody now, does it? That's impossible that would actually happen. Isn't that impossible? Guess what? No, it's not. I say it's not because something like that similar happened to me. I go into a Subway sandwich shop. Everybody's standing in line. All right? I'm about to get my stuff. There's a guy standing next to me. He's on the other side of the roast, but he's standing next to me. I'm looking at him like, is this guy going to try to cut in front of me? Oh, come on, man. I'm in a hurry. I don't have time for that. Right? So I'm looking on my phone, looking up some stuff, and there's a lady in front of me. I didn't even notice her at first, but she's one of those ladies that usually when she walks into the room, she shuts everything down. She's a shutdown lady. And you know a shutdown lady. There's shutdown men too. A person that's so good looking that when they walk in the room, everybody's trying to take a peek at them and they're trying to act like they're not taking a peek at them, but the person knows they're taking a peek at them. That kind of person. And I notice her and I go, in my mind, I go, wow, that's a gorgeous woman. Right? But I'm not there for that. I'm there for a sandwich and I got to go, right? I'm not trying to hate on this lady. I ain't got time for that crap. And you don't have to annoy people all the time just because you find them attractive. Just live your life and don't be obnoxious. Well, the guy to the left of me, I'm on my phone now. He says something under his breath, but not under his breath enough about her buttocks. And his comment was crude and I will not repeat it. But she did have a fantastic, spectacular, wonderful, oh my goodness buttocks. But I wouldn't have said anything about it. I would have just taken a quick peek out the corner of my eye so as not to be a sexist pig. But I would not have said anything. But he said something, right? Now, standing behind it, you ever have somebody say something and you react, but you don't want to turn around? Well, she did that. She reacted, and it was very apparent that she heard what he said, and he slinked out of the room and walked out of the Subway sandwich into the Dunkin' Donuts really quickly, right? And I turned around looking at him like, what is with this guy? And I turned back around, and the lady's now looking at me, and she's furious. You see, she thought I had said it. She literally thought I said it. And then she starts giving me the business. And I go, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say it. I said, that voice didn't even sound like me. I don't know what the voice sounded like, but you were there and you said it. Right? I didn't say it. And of course, just like the stupid sitcom, huge boyfriend comes in the room. What's going on? This guy said, oh yeah, right? Now I had just said, I didn't say it to the lady, right? Fortunately, I didn't say anything else because I'm not going to do a stereotypical gay voice, but I will pretend that I'm from another country and I'm not kidding about this. So what you got to say? And I go, I did not say it. Listen though, the lady is upset at somebody said something to her. I didn't say. I don't know. You sure it was him that said it? Well, I mean, I didn't hear his voice, but the guy that said it didn't have an accent. This guy kind of has an accent. I don't know what I don't understand. No, it's okay, man. It's okay, man. She thought that you said something. It was, you sure it's not him? Well, the guy that said it was, he said this and it didn't sound like this guy. I mean, this guy can't even speak English that good. I don't know. And I'm sorry, sir. It is okay because how do you say, I respect the girls, the woman. Yes, that's great. The woman, that's the woman. Oh, that's great. Okay. Oh no, I am upset for him speaking you badly, and women should not be respect. You mean disrespect? Yes. That is that the right correct word. Yeah, that's the correct word. That's very good. Okay, I got that. I have to go. The good day and have a good lunch. Okay, you too. I'm sorry for yelling at you. Okay. And I walk out the damn store and get in my car and get the hell out of there. Now, if somebody had told me the day before to keep from getting kicked through a glass window for something I didn't do, I would put on a fake accent. I would have said, man, that is bull crap. That crap only happens in sitcoms. Well, guess what? It does not only happen in sitcoms. It also happened yesterday. I wish I could have filmed it, but then again, I would have put it online and the guy would have like, wait a second. He's the new fake. I'll kill him. So maybe I'm glad I did not record it. Right. Like I said, a lot of sitcom-y things happened to me during the time I was off. I literally ran into... We'll be back right after this short break. And now, back to the show. For those that listen to my other podcast, the S. Anthony Says podcast, I did a story about a lady called Granny Sweetbutt. And what she was, and I have to, obviously there's new listeners on this podcast that haven't listened to the other podcast and new people coming on. So go listen to that podcast if you want to hear just go look up S. Anthony Thomas, Granny Sweetbutt, and the episodes will pop up. But what she was basically was she was a lady who, from the neck down, looked like she was a 25-year-old fitness model, but from the neck up looked her age. Now that's not meant to be an insult. That was literally, she looked like a pretty 60-year-old woman from the neck up, but from the neck down, she looked like a drop-dead gorgeous 25-year-old spokesmodel. So when I walked into the supermarket, and she was a customer in the supermarket, I didn't know that at the time, two young guys had walked out and they were remarking about, man, her body's slamming, she's jamming, or whatever the hell they were saying, right? And they referred to her, man. I said, man, she looked like a granny, but she got a sweet butt, man. She Granny Sweetbutt, bro. She a granny with a sweet butt, bro. So in my mind, I'm thinking Granny Sweetbutt. So I'm going, what are these guys talking about? I walk into the store and I see this woman, and I didn't know it was the same person at first. And from the back, oh, goodness gracious, grace under fire. Oh my God. Right? And then she turns around. Oh, awesome. She's reading a box of cereal. She takes the box of cereal down. And then I realize that's the person they're talking about. She looks like a pretty 60-year-old woman in the face and a drop dead gorgeous spokesmodel from the neck down. Granny Sweetbutt indeed. Right? And I'm trying my best not to drool over her physical form. I don't want to be one of those guys that objectifies people, but good Lord Almighty, right? And then as it turns out, we run into each other in the supermarket. We fall into conversation, and apparently she wants the kid. And the kid by that I mean is me, right? But I'm thinking she's age inappropriate for me. And this was a few years ago. She's age inappropriate for me. She's an older lady. I know she looks great, but I don't want to do this because I don't have any real feelings for her. I would just be using her spectacular body for my own pleasures, and I'm not going to be that type of guy. I'm going to just let this slide. I'm not going to do it. And she became more and more persistent about hitting on me every time she saw me. And she came really, really close a few times for me putting her in the mighty Toyota Camry, which is what I drive, and taking her back to, my place or her place and giving her that good business. But I was like, no, you are not going to do it. I don't care how gorgeous that body is and how cute she is and that body. Good Lord, I don't care. You're not going to to do it because you're not going to use this woman for your gratification. You don't have any real feelings for her. You just are attracted to that body, and she's a sweetheart and she is cute, but this is wrong. You will not, she came real close to getting that business. And I said, no, I'm not giving her the business. I'm not doing it. Right? And there's been other stories and adventures with Granny Sweetbutt that if you go listen to the S. Anthony Says podcast, you can listen to. I'm not going to rehash the whole stories, right? But as it turns out, I go into the store and I find out that Granny Sweetbutt has moved on. She's moved on. She no longer lives in New Jersey at all. She is long gone. I don't know what they said where she lived, but I kind of blanked out because in the back of my mind, I just liked going to the store and having Granny Sweetbutt hit on me. And she was just, she was built and she was cute, but I wouldn't do it. But I like the idea of doing it, but I wouldn't have done it. But you ever just seen somebody that you find attractive, like a celebrity or something, and you drool over them for years and then they become married and all of a sudden like the fantasy's ruined, right? Well, with her, it was kind of like that. I would drool in my mind over her but then she moved away and I can't see her anymore. And it kind of bummed me out. And I was a little depressed. And I'm embarrassed to say that I was a little depressed. But I was a little depressed. And I walk around the store bummed out. And I see another lady. A little younger than Granny Sweetbutt, but built almost exactly the same way. And I'm going, oh my goodness, there's a new Granny Sweetbutt. I don't believe it. This time I'm going to stay away from her. We wound up in the same line. And just like the other Granny Sweetbutt, she was making it very clear that she was interested. And in conversation, I realized Granny Sweetbutt has a younger sister. And it's this lady. The new Granny Sweetbutt. Who's closer to my age. Which makes this much, much more difficult for me not to objectify her and take her back home and give her that good business, The bad part about it is I really definitely can't give her the good business because she's the sister of the other lady who I was forcing myself not to give the business. And if I gave her the business, I would actually be, would hurt the other lady because she wanted me to give her the business. Now, man, how would she feel if she spent years trying to get me to give her the business and then I business the crap out of her sister? That would be bad. So this is horrible. I'm going to have to change supermarkets now. Well, not right now. A few months from now, I'm still going to want to go back and look at her a few more times. Don't judge me. Never mind. And one last thing I want to talk about before I go. And as I was recording this, I was hearing about the NCAA and the thing they did, which was change the rules of sports being a sports agent because of LeBron's friend being a sports agent and being successful. And it's just the weirdest thing when you see people in power change the rules because you figured out something, right? I mean, think about it. The guy doesn't have a college degree, and all of a sudden, when he becomes successful and gets all these players all this money, and players are starting to flock to him because of his business prowess, all of a sudden now, to be an agent, you got to have a bachelor's degree. They know he doesn't have a bachelor's degree. Well, you have to have a bachelor's degree and 3 years of experience, which basically means if he starts right now, he, according to those rules, can't be an agent for 7 years. They basically were trying to take 7 years from the guy, putting up obstacles to make sure he can't do what he needs to do. And it's amazing how when people have the power, they can take things away from you like that. Change the rules. It reminds me back in the day when Prince was doing his musicology tour and he was selling all tickets and he had the #1 tour in the world and everything like that. And what was he doing? He was bundling his album with the ticket sales, which means all the money went back to him. Right? So what happened? The record industry said, okay, we're going to change the rules for every album after that album. So that album is grandfathered in and you get the credit on Billboard charts, but anybody else who tries that, nope, you don't get credit. Because think about it. If someone as big as Prince did it and they were like, wait a minute, I'm getting all the money from the albums. Don't you think Beyonce would do it? Or Madonna would do it? Or every rapper would do it? All of a sudden, the record industry would get pushed the hell out and lose all that money. And that was back in 2004. And they changed the rules quickly. Because that's what happens when you have the power. Sometimes you can figure out a way to win, and they make the decision to change the rules to stop you. You've all been there. It happens in everyday life too. You've been there before, right? You've gone to a store, they have something on sale, right? And then people start coming into the store for the sale item, and it's a loss leader. You're supposed to buy the item, and then when you're in the store, they're hoping you'll pick up something else while you're there. But as it turns out, all the people that were coming into the store, and I saw this happen, all the people were just coming in for the sale item, and they weren't buying a damn thing. They weren't buying crap. They would come and buy the item and walk the hell out, and the manager of the store went, "Oh, I don't think so." He walked out, right, with a marker, waited till there was a break in the action, pulled out the sales paper and wrote, "Must purchase 3 items of at least $25 to get this deal." That wasn't on the poster, but it was on the poster now. That wasn't the rule. That wasn't what it said in the newspaper, but it's what it said now. And all of a sudden, people who came into the store to try to be slick and buy just that item and get the hell out of there found out the hard way that, oh no, you can't do that. You gotta buy $25 worth of stuff. $25 worth of stuff that shouldn't cost $25 because the store costs too damn much in the first place. And that's what happens when somebody else makes the rules. They can change the rules. And then you'll be in a situation where you have to change everything about yourself to get to where you need to get to. Folks, make your own rules. Because if you don't make your own rules, somebody else is going to mess with it. You know what I'm talking about. Well, folks, I just want to say thank you for coming back. The new cycle of shows has begun. The other podcast, my original podcast, the Yes Anthony Says podcast, will have a new episode on the 11th of this month, which means this Sunday. It's been great being back with you. Much love to you. I look forward to your email. Much love to every last one of you, and I will see you later. All right, everybody. Thank you again for coming back and helping me restart the podcast after I didn't leave permanently. I'm just working on something else really quickly, taking a short break, and now I'm back. And I want to thank you for coming back. Much love to every last one of you, and I really mean that. And I will see you again next time. Thanks.